Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhus. Can we begin?
Yes, sir.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're continuing our study Srimad Bhagavatam. We're looking at the 9th canto, and yesterday we looked at chapter number 13, the dynasty of Maharaj Nimi. And we told the story about Maharaj Nimi, who was the son of Ikshvaku, and he had some problem with Vasishta. Right? Who can tell me the story? Who remembers what happened? Yes, Gadadhar?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, yes. Yesterday we learned about how Nimi requests Vasishta to perform yagya, but Vasishta chose to first perform yagya for Indra and asked Nimi to wait for some time. But Nimi on that time remained silent and then asked another priest to perform the yagya. Then Vasishta became angry after knowing this, and Vasishta cursed Nimi. Nimi also cursed Vasishta. So yes, that's what I remember.
How did they curse? What was the curse?
So the Vasishta is cursed. Then Vasishta gave up his body. And after that...
What was the curse? Vasishta cursed Maharaj Nimi. What would happen to him?
Maharaj Nimi gave up his body.
That he would fall, right? Vasishta cursed Maharaj Nimi that you will fall. You will fall down. Meaning that you die. Fall down on the ground, you know. Yeah. And then Maharaj Nimi then counter curse, right? And so then what happened after that?
Maharaj Nimi cursed the Vasishta, and Vasishta also died, and his semen is discharged by Mitra and Varuna, something like that.
And what happened to Maharaj Nimi?
Maharaj Nimi no having material body anymore, just want to remain spiritual body. Even requested by demigods, he doesn't want also to accept another body.
Right. He didn't. The demigods wanted him to come back. He said, no, I don't want to take another body. So what did they do with this body?
Forgot, Maharaj.
Oh, I forgot. Okay. Anyway, Maharaj Nimi, he went to the spiritual world to be an associate of the Lord. And who can tell me what happened to the body of Maharaj Nimi? Someone else there? Yes? You can tell me what happened to Maharaj Nimi's body?
Maharaj Nimi's body was churned.
Yes, right. Who turned it?
The sages, the brahmanas.
Yeah, or the demigods.
The demigods were also involved somehow as well.
And what happened when they turned it?
This King Janak.
Yes.
Yeah, was born.
Right. They got Maharaj Janak, right? We got a great soul, Maharaj Janak.
And then he has 3 names: Videha, Janak, and Maithila, something like that.
Maithili. What's the name? Mithila.
Maithila.
Maharaj 3 names he got.
Huh?
Number 1 Janak, number 2 is Videhi, number 3 Mithila.
Mithila, yes. Right. So? Okay, good. And then we heard also about Mother Sita, how she came from the earth. All right. So that we were hearing about the kings coming from we're hearing about the kings coming from the sun god. Now going on to chapter number 14, we're going to hear about the kings coming from the line of the moon god. So we're on chapter number 14, King Pururava enchanted by Urvasi.
Maharaj, I had a quick question, if it's possible.
Okay, yeah.
Just based on chapter 13. So as we go down the descendants of Janak, later on there is this Dharma Dwaja mentioned and Shira Dwaja mentioned.
Yes.
So Kriti Dwaja, Dharma Dwaja and Kriti Dwaja. And then one of them is very much into Vedic rituals and kind of flees away from the other. Because it's very more devotional, more spiritual. And then in the very next text, text 27, it is said, all the kings of Mithila dynasty were expert in Atma Vidya, spiritual knowledge. And they were liberated from material duality. So it just seems a little bit contradictory because just a couple of verses before, it is said one of them was very much into Vedic rituals and fleet from the other.
Yeah. So
then how are they all liberated personalities in this line? Because if one of them is engaged in Vedic rituals and is scared of the other because they're engaged in spiritual life.
Well, it says all of the kings were in knowledge of their spiritual identity. So even though staying at home, they were liberated from the duality of material existence. So your question is, how is it possible that they could be what? Expert in Vedic?
Yeah, one of them specifically is mentioned. That they were caught up in Vedic rituals.
Yeah, okay. But Vedic rituals can be done for the Supreme Lord.
But then why they were in fear and ran from the other? Because the other was engaged spiritually.
Well, one is mentioned, one person, Kandikya, fled in fear of Keshidwaja, right? We're not told who he was, though. Kandika, Tangita. We don't know who he was. I couldn't find out where his name came from. It just mentioned his name. Keshidwaja was mentioned. He was the son of Kritadwaja. But we're not told anything about him. Kandika. He just comes in there. He fled because of Kand. So I couldn't really get into it, what was going on, where it came from, what he was up, what was going on. I don't know if he's one of the kings or what. Anyway, I don't think it's a big issue. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You get a name. You get a lot of names of these different kings, you know. And these kings, you know, they're small kings actually. Most of them are, you know, they don't have very big kingdoms. But in India, you know, in those days, and it does that. There were so many kings, and they each had their own little kingdom and their little palace, and the government took them all away, closed the whole thing down, you know, took everything away from the kings. When India became independent of the British rule, then they took away all the wealth from all the kings. But in the past, like you can see, thousands of years ago, there were a lot of kings. There was a lot of little kingdoms, and they were all fighting with each other. It was quite common. Anyway, these kings, that was the last of the kings coming from the sun god. Now we're going to hear about the kings coming from the moon god. All right, so the chapter begins, and we have an incident takes place telling about this sun god. Well, no, we've heard about the sun god, now we're going to hear about the moon god. This is the moon god. And this description also mentions kings like Aila. King Aila is also known by the name Pururava. And you'll see in the 11th canto there's a chapter called the Aila Gita. So that's the song of Pururava in the 11th canto. But here in the 9th canto you'll read about his entanglement, and you'll appreciate more why the Aila Gita is in the 11th canto when you read it. Anyway, it's mentioned here, Saharsha Sirsha, beginning of Purusha Sukta, meaning the address to Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, the Lord who has thousands of heads. So Lord Vishnu, from his navel sprang a lotus on which Lord Brahma was generated. Atri, the son of Lord Brahma, was as qualified as his father. Right? So Atri was born, the son of one of the sons of Brahma. And we know about Atri from the 4th canto, right? Or is it the 3rd canto maybe? Atri. His wife was Anasuya. Mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, text number 3. From Atri, tears of jubilation were born, a son named Soma, the moon, who was full of soothing rays. Lord Brahma appointed him the director of the brahmanas, drugs, and luminaries. So this is the position of Soma, the moon god. He's the director of the brahmanas and drugs and luminaries. But wait till you hear what happens, you know, he's quite a... So Soma, he's born from the mind of the Supreme Lord. In the purport, Prabhupada's purport here, 9th canto, it's still Srila Prabhupada writing the purports, and he says, according to Vedic description, Soma was born from the mind of the Supreme Lord. But here, we find that Soma was born from the tears in the eyes of Atri. So this is a contradiction according to the Vedic information. But actually it is not, for the birth of the moon is understood to have taken place in another millennium. All right, so sometimes these things happen in different millenniums. So they're explained different ways, different millenniums. And at the end of the purport of text number 3, this verse describes that Anasuya, the wife of Atri Rishi, bore 3 sons, Soma, Durvasa and Dattatreya. It is said that at the time of conception, Anasuya was impregnated by the tears of Atri. Now you've all been studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So one of you tell me the story, what happened? How is it Atri Muni and Anasuya got 3 sons? Yes, who can answer for me? Okay, there's somebody's hand up. Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So my understanding is that when Atri Muni was praying, he was praying to Bhagavan, but he didn't know who Bhagavan was. So when the Lord came, he came. Lord Vishnu came, Brahma came, and Lord Shiva came. And they asked, which one of us have you prayed to? And he's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one. And he wanted a son that was like the Supreme Lord. So then they blessed him. So then Anasuya had these 3 personalities. But I always get confused on that bit. I thought that they had Dattatreya, who had 3 heads and who represented all 3. Because in some places it's written that. But in some places it says he had 3 sons. So Durvasa Muni was from Lord Shiva, Soma was from Brahma, and Dattatreya was from Lord Vishnu.
Yes. Yes. Atri Muni asked them when they appeared, which one of you is the Supreme Lord? And they said, we're all the 3 of us are the Supreme Lord. Now, what point does Prabhupada make about this in the purport? He brings up a point. He said that from this we can understand that Atri Muni was not a pure devotee. Right? Who knows why Atri Muni was not a pure devotee? Anybody? Let me see. Somebody who's not spoken. I want you all to take part here. Yes. What is this? Maha something? Mahanaik. Isn't it? Yes? Mahanaik. What's his name?
Maharaj, there's 2 people who've got their hand up. One is Parama Karuna and one is Govinda Dev.
Oh, really? Okay, Parama Karuna.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes? What point does Prabhupada's purport make about this? Parama Karuna? Or Govinda Dev?
He looks like he's fallen off. Yeah, Govinda Dev Prabhu.
Atri Muni had a confusion about the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. So, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Shastra clearly enjoins that Lord Krishna is distinguished and distinct from all other demigods and all the other entities. So Atri Muni was confused about the identification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why he is not a pure devotee of the Lord.
Well, that wasn't exactly how Prabhupada explained it. I don't know how you got that.
Brahma Karuna, Prabhu, you're back. You can give your answer. I think you got disconnected.
Yeah, I was going to say more or less what Govinda was going to say, so...
As I remember it, Prabhupada said, because he wanted a son who was like the Supreme Lord. He didn't ask for the Supreme Lord to come as his son, but he wanted a son like the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada said, therefore, he cannot be a pure devotee. Because he didn't want the Lord as his son, but he wanted a son who was like the Lord. So I said, this means he's not a pure devotee. He doesn't have the pure devotional mood. He just wants a son. He wants a son who is like the Supreme Lord. But if he'd asked to have the Supreme Lord as his son, then that is a mood of pure devotion. Just like Vasudeva and Devaki, of course. They've got the Lord as their son. Okay? Alright, so Anasuya gave birth to 3 children. And they're all sons of Atri. But then we hear about Soma, the moon god. Right? We heard he's the son of Brahma. And after conquering the 3 worlds, Soma, the moon god, performed a great sacrifice known as Rajasuya Yagna. Right? Who else performed Rajasuya Yagna?
Yudhishthira Maharaj.
Yes, right. Yudhishthira Maharaj performed the Rajasuya Yagna. So here we have this Rajasuya Yagna done by Soma. But Soma, it says, he was very puffed up. He forcibly kidnapped Brihaspati's wife, whose name was Tara. So Soma, the moon god, is a powerful demigod, and he's kidnapped Brihaspati, who's the guru of the demigod. He's kidnapped the guru's wife. So, not a very good state of affairs. You can understand about something, the nature of the heavenly planets. And we're told, although he's requested again and again by Brihaspati to return the woman, Soma did not want to return her. And it says this was due to his false pride. So there was a big fight between the demigods and the demons. Fighting. And you see the influence. One woman, because of one woman, so much fighting goes on. Just like Kurukshetra war. One woman was involved there. Which woman? Who was responsible for the Kurukshetra war?
Draupadi.
Yeah, Draupadi, right. Draupadi, because the Kauravas had insulted Draupadi. So you've got the Kurukshetra war, and here also you've got the demigods and the demons fighting because of this one woman, Tara. And it becomes quite involved. who should go on whose side. So Brihaspati and Sukra. Sukra took the side of the moon god and was joined by the demons. So the moon god's a demigod, but he took the side of the demons. Because they're fighting Brihaspati, and Brihaspati is the guru of the demigod. And Lord Shiva, because of affection for the son of his spiritual master, he joins the side of the Brihaspati, meaning the demigods. So on the side of the demigods, you've got Lord Shiva's followers, the ghosts and the hobgoblins. The ghosts and hobgoblins are all on the side of the demigods, and they're fighting against Brihaspati. No, they're fighting with they joined Brihaspati. They're fighting with Brihaspati, but they're fighting against the moon god and the demons. And Shukra also, because Shukra was an enemy of Brihaspati. So we see Lord Shiva joining the fight because of affection for the son of his spiritual master. So it said Lord Shiva is well known to have received knowledge from Angira. Right? You've heard about Angira. Who is Angira? He's one of the sons of Brahma. And sometimes he travels with Narada Muni. In the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you can read about Angira meeting with Maharaj Chitraketu. So Lord Shiva had taken knowledge from Angira. And Angira is the father of Brihaspati. So because Angira is Lord Shiva's guru, so he fights for Brihaspati. And King Indra and many other demigods, they all fought on the side of Brihaspati. So it was a big fight, the demons and the demigods. Why? Just for the sake of Brihaspati's wife, Tara. Because Soma had taken away Brihaspati's wife. Just see the situation. They're such elevated personalities, but they get involved fighting over women. And even Lord Brahma gets involved. Lord Brahma tells Soma, you have to give back this woman. It says Lord Brahma severely chastised the moon god. He was informed by Angira about the whole incident. So he told the moon god, you cannot take Brihaspati's wife. You have to give back the guru's wife. So Lord Brahma got Tara, he brought Tara to her husband. But when he brought her to her husband, they understood that she was pregnant. So you can read text number 9. Brihaspati said, you foolish woman, your womb, which was meant for me to impregnate, has been impregnated by someone other than me. Immediately deliver your child. Immediately deliver it. be assured that after the child is delivered, I shall not burn you to ashes. Well, that's a relief. He said, I won't burn you to ashes. I know that although you are unchaste, you wanted a son. Therefore, I shall not punish you. All right? So what can you understand about this? What do we learn from this incident? Something. What do you think, hearing about this, what does it tell you?
That we don't harm a woman, even if she's made a mistake, she's not punished.
Okay, yes, that's true. Yeah, we shouldn't harm a woman. Women need to be protected, right? They should be protected. That's what Grihastha life is meant for, that the husband is meant to protect his wife. So something must have happened that Brihaspati, somehow he allowed his wife to be taken away by Soma. Somehow it happened that he should have been protecting and taking care of his wife. Women need to be protected. This is the problem. Women like to be protected, usually. And it's the duty of the man, when they marry, that he will protect the woman. So sometimes these things happen. The woman is not protected, she's taken away by another man, and look what happens. She gets pregnant. Very unfortunate. Okay, something else? Some men? What do you think about this incident? What does it tell you?
So Maharaj, Tara married Brihaspati, so she should have been impregnated by Brihaspati, but unfortunately she was impregnated by Soma, leading to a conflict between them.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't catch everything you're saying. Can you say it again?
Maharaj, what I'm saying, Brihaspati, Tara married to Brihaspati, so she should have been impregnated by Brihaspati, but she was impregnated by Soma, leading to a conflict and very chaotic situation.
Yes, right. And just look at Brihaspati, what he says to her. He said, I shall not burn you to ashes. He must have been so powerful that he could burn somebody to ashes if he wanted. But anyway, he said, I won't burn you to ashes. But at the same time, he orders her, deliver your child immediately. Now to do that, that's something a little difficult. Women today, at least on the earthly abode, humans, to get them to deliver, usually it will take, 9 months or something to deliver a child? So, he's telling her, immediately deliver your child. So it's something about the life on the higher planets that they can do these kind of things. Anything else from this incident?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Pranam Maharaj. I had one question, Maharaj, not related to this, but same incident. Like here we found that Brihaspati told that I'll not punish you, and we found that woman should not be punished. Instead, she should be she should be protected. But in the case of Ahilya and Gautam Rishi, we found that Ahilya was, she was innocent, but Gautam Muni cursed her. So these two incidents shows contradiction, Maharaj.
Oh, can you tell me that again? What's the contradiction?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I told that here we found that Brihaspati, instead of cursing or punishing, he protected his wife, but Gautam Muni, he cursed his wife Ahilya. So we found two controversies, that one person is excusing and the other Gautam Rishi, he is punishing.
Yes. Well, he didn't punish. He said, I won't burn you to ashes. I know you are unchaste. You wanted a son. Oh, therefore I shall punish. He said, I shall not punish you. Yeah, he said, I'm not going to punish you. He understood womanly nature. But yeah, in the other case, Ahalya, yeah, she got punished, right? She was put into stone. Yeah. But, well,
She was innocent in that case also, but still she was punished. And here in this case, she was not punished.
Well, she's not being punished because he said you wanted a son. He said, I understand you wanted a son. She wanted the son. So and to satisfy her desire to have a son. In the other case, there was no incident like that. It wasn't that she wanted a son. She just got attracted to the other man. Right?
Okay, Maharaj.
So that's how I see it. That here the woman wanted she wanted a child. But Ahalya, there was no question that she wanted a child. She just got attracted to the man. Anyway, if Tara's chastity was certainly ruined because she comes back and she's pregnant. So he told her, we'll immediately deliver the son. So you can see text 10, by Brihaspati's order, Tara immediately gave birth to the child. And the child was very beautiful, a golden bodily hue, and both Brihaspati and the moon god, Soma, desired the beautiful child. Right? When they saw the child, they both wanted it. They both thought, well, she's my wife, and so I should take the child, Brihaspati is saying. And Soma's saying, well, it was my child. I impregnated her. So it's my child. So again, fighting broke out between Brihaspati and the moon god. And they're both saying, this is my child. And then they had to question the mother, get her to reveal, because the mother, the woman, she's the one who knows who's the father. And so, but she's ashamed to answer. Naturally, when the baby is born and her husband's standing there, and they're asking her, who's the father of this child? So she's afraid to answer. So then we're told the child protests, and the child says to the mother, you unchaste woman, tell the truth. What is the use of your unnecessary shame? Why do you not admit your fault? Immediately tell about your faulty behavior. So in this way, Lord Brahma then takes Tara to a quiet place, and he gets her to admit who is the father. and she says, this child is the son of Soma, the moon god. So the moon god immediately took charge of the child. And the child is very intelligent. From his birth, immediately can see this child is deeply intelligent. So they gave the child this name Buddha. And we're told the moon god enjoys great jubilation because of this son. Oh, when you have a great son, a powerful son, very attractive, very learned, intelligent, then certainly the father will feel very proud. And so because of his son, he's so proud, the moon god. So the moon god he also has a son, and his son is called Pururava. He's born through the womb of Ila. So this, of course, he's the central person in this pastime here, in this chapter, Pururava. And we're told that he was, we heard that Buddha, the son of the moon god, was very attractive, very intelligent, and the sun god and Brihaspati both wanted him. Anyway, he goes away with the sun god, the moon god rather, and then later he grows up and he gets his own son. And so the next son is called Pururava. And he has great beauty, personal qualities, magnanimity, behavior, wealth and power, and all of the good qualities. They were described by Narada in the court of Indra, meaning in the heavenly planets. So Narada Muni could go up there to the heavenly planets and he could speak about everything, describe everything that's going on. So the celestial woman, Urvasi, one of the women who's there in the palace of Indra, she was hearing about this man, Pururava, because Narada Muni is there describing all his wonderful qualities. And we're told that she got pierced by the arrow of Cupid. In other words, she was attracted to this Pururava. Because Narada Muni was speaking about how wonderful this son of Buddha, or he's the grandson of the moon god, and he's very wonderful. He has all the good qualities. And there is Urvasi, and she's there in the court of Indra, and she's hearing about this wonderful man, and she is attracted to him. The arrows of Cupid have pierced her heart, and she's eager to go and be with this man. Right? Urvasi, although she's a woman of the heavenly planets, she had a curse on her that she had to come down to earth for some time. So, usually the women of the higher planets, the women of the demigods, won't be attracted to men on this planet. But this man, Pururava, was a very special man. He was a very special man. So he somehow he attracted this woman Urvasi, who was one of the main women there in the court of Indra. And she is attracted to come and be with this Pururava. Yes, Urvasi had been cursed by Mitra and Varuna. The celestial woman Urvasi, because of the curse, she had acquired the habits of a human being. She's actually from the higher planets, from the planets of the demigods, but she had been cursed to have the habits of a human being. And so she comes down to earth. And when she sees Pururava, then she's very attracted to him. And Pururava is described here, the best of males. His beauty resembled that of Cupid. So Urvasi was attracted, but she controlled herself and she approached him. And when Pururava saw Urvasi, then he was very attracted to her. His eyes became jubilant in the ecstasy of joy. The hairs on his body stood on end. With mild, pleasing words, he spoke to her as follows. So you can see how Cupid works. Cupid fires his arrow into the heart of people, and in this way they become attracted to each other. So Urvasi has come down from the heavenly planets, and King Pururava is the grandson of Soma, the moon god. So they have, it's not difficult for the two of them to get connected and to become friends. They make up their relationship. And we can see in the material world how these kind of things happen every day. People become attracted to each other based on the body, bodily attachment, bodily attraction, a very physical thing, right? What is wrong with that? Is anything wrong with that? Yes? Vrindavan? What?
Okay.
Vrindavan Maharaji? What do you think? Did you have a love marriage?
No, my marriage was arranged. It was arranged by devotees.
Okay. Good. But do you see, have you seen in the material world, not necessarily devotees, but when they make arrangements based on physical attraction, what usually happens?
I find that, after a while, when it's based on physical attraction, after a while it fizzles out. And then when the responsibilities kick in, then it becomes a bit more difficult because your motivation for marriage was something different. Whereas when you kind of look at the circumstances and you understand the responsibility, it might last a bit longer. But it's hard to say, everybody's circumstances are different.
Yes, right. Different, not the same for everyone. Sometimes it works, of course. But usually we find that, the nature of the body, somebody's attracted to the body of some other person, and then after some time they see somebody else and they're attracted to someone else's body. The attraction doesn't last for very long. That's a problem with the material, when the attraction is based just on physical forms. and features that you get attracted to one person and then you can go off and you get attracted to someone else. And that's what, of course, then the marriage breaks up. And again, divorce, again, another marriage. Sometimes.
I think it's still important, even when you're married, to not associate too much with the opposite gender, because we can slip. Even in marriage, doesn't make you safe, because you can become attracted to somebody else, or attached to somebody else. So I feel like even in Grahastha ashram, we shouldn't feel like we're safe. We should still, only mingle as much as necessary with the opposite gender.
Very good point. Yes. Very important. We have to be careful. People often complain about our society that we have too much mixing between the men and the women. We have to be careful. You want to protect yourself. It's better for the women to associate with the women. And that's true even not just devotee work, but especially you're working if you have a job, you work in an office or something, you don't want to be in an office with a lot of men. If you're a young woman and you're there with a bunch of men in the office all day, it's not a very good environment to be with men all day. And this is what happens. So many young women, they get jobs working in the office, they work with these men. And they get prone, they get caught up, if they go home at night, they come and they maybe see their husband and they find fault with their husband, and then they go to work the next day and they get attracted to some other man in the office. Things like that. Too much association between men and women. It really is not very good. Because women are working, a lot of women working today, you find that. So when the woman works, she goes to work, then she's prone to associate with a lot of men. And that leads to a lot of corruption, broken homes, divorce and things. So it's actually better for the women to stay at home, not to work. Women going to work everywhere. People are so eager to get more money, have more money, bigger income. Oh, if we're both working, then we get a bigger house, we get a better car, and this and that. Yeah, you may do, but the problem is you're not at home, you're not with the children. The children suffer, and the home also suffers. And the relationship between the husband and wife also is influenced. Okay. So Pururava, he's ecstatic to see Urvasi. He's enjoying her. And he wants to encourage her. He says, come and enjoy with me. And Urvasi says, oh yes, you're the most handsome man. Who is the woman whose mind would not be attracted to you? So Prabhupada quotes Srimad Bhagavatam, the relevant verse from Prahlad Maharaj's teaching, right? Who knows the verse?
Maharaj Kumar Acharata Pragya.
Kumar, no, that's not the verse. We're talking about Grihastha life. The attraction between men and women. What did Prahlad Maharaj say about it?
It's a dark well.
Yeah, he said that, yeah. No, it's quoted here, text number 20, the purport, text number 20. Yan maichanadi grihamedi sukham hitucham. Yan maichanadi grihamedi. Actually, not grihasta life, but grihamedi life. He's describing grihamedi life. Sukham hitucham. Right? What is that happiness? Their happiness is like some itching of the skin, is it? Or you have some liquid between the palms, two hands rubbing together. So the same way, the man and woman, their bodily contact, that is their pleasure, their so-called pleasure in the Grihamedi ashram. The Grihamedi, meaning their business is just simply envy, materialistic life. Try to put on a face and pretend that you're happy. But so much difficulty, so much suffering in the course of the life. That is the nature of the family life. So, this is the 7th canto, 9th chapter, text 45. The whole material world is caught up based on this sex attraction. Srila Prabhupada was in New York, and it was the Rathi-yatra time on 5th Avenue in New York. And so Tripurari Swami was there, and he describes Tripurari Swami. He'd just recently taken sannyas, just like a few months earlier, and he was at the New York Rathi-yatra. And Prabhupada calls him over, and Prabhupada's sitting on the Rathi-yatra chariot, and it's coming down the road there in Manhattan. And he says to Tripurari Swami, he said, What do you think of all these women, Tripurari Swami? He said, what do you think of all these New York women? And Tripurari, he looks at Prabhupada, he'd just taken sannyas. He wasn't very old, he was in his 20s only, maybe like 28, 29, not very old. And nowadays they won't let you take sannyas at that age. Anyway, he had taken sannyas at that point, and Prabhupada asked him, what do you think of all these women in New York? And so Tripurari just looks at Prabhupada, and he didn't quite know what to say, how to answer. And Prabhupada looks at him and said, aren't they all beautiful? He said, they're so beautiful. He said, do you know why? He said, it's this whole New York City, all of these skyscrapers and the big buildings. He said, because of all these women, that's why you have all of these skyscrapers and big buildings. It's all based on this attraction between the man and the woman, the opposite sex. Because of the attraction between the male and female, they've built this whole New York City with all the skyscraper buildings. This is how Prabhupada saw New York. He saw New York was a manifestation of the lust between the men and women there. So, of course, it's not only in New York that's it. All over the world you have this, everywhere. So the whole basis of material life is this attraction between the opposite sexes. Of course, it's proper for people to be married. it's an ashram, right? There's the Grihastha ashram, there's the Grihamedi ashram, and the Grihastha ashram. And the Grihastha ashram is for spiritual advancement. So even in married life, there's an opportunity for spiritual advancement. But if they're Grihamedis, they're not going to make spiritual advancement. So Urvasi is very attached to this wonderful man. She's got this very perfect man. And Pururava is very attached to Urvasi. He thinks she's a very perfect woman. No, she's very beautiful, coming from the higher planets. Just like Draupadi. Draupadi was also very, very beautiful. All the kings wanted her. When they had the archery contest, so many kings came. They wanted to pierce the eye of the fish. But only Arjuna could do that. Oh, actually Arjuna couldn't do it. There was another time when they pierced the eye of the fish. One of Lord Krishna's queens, right? Lord Krishna won the hand of one of his queens. He pierced the eye of the fish. Arjuna could hit the fish, but he couldn't pierce the eye of the fish. But Lord Krishna pierced the eye of the fish and took the hand of... Who was the queen? What was her name? Mitravinda, was it? Or Bhadra? Anyway, one of Krishna's 8 principal queens. Right? Do you know the story?
No, Maharaj.
You don't know the story? You never read the Krishna book, yeah?
Govinda Prabhu, did you want to say something?
Sumati? Sumati is there?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes? So what do you think, Sumati? You know Krishna's 8 principal queens?
Yes, Maharaj.
So which one was it Krishna had to pierce the eye of a fish?
I don't remember. I read Krishna book, but I don't remember the story.
Okay. You know the names of the 8 principal queens?
No, I know, but I don't remember all of them.
How many do you remember?
Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jamvati, Bhadra, and I don't Mitravinda, and I don't know.
Yes, anybody else?
Maharaj, Gauradenath Prabhu and Maharani Mataji have their hand up.
Oh, really?
Hare Krishna, yes. So, also Arjuna, when in the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi, he also made this quest about throwing an arrow to a fish by looking in a
pond of
mirror,
water.
right?
A pond of water.
A pond of water. Like use a pond of water as a mirror to throw our arrow to the fish. It's not in Draupadi's Swayamvar ceremony, or perhaps?
No, it wasn't Draupadi's Swayamvar. Lord Krishna didn't take part in Draupadi's Swayamvar. This was a special Swayamvar. Lord Krishna came and he took part to pierce the eye of the fish. Arjuna could hit the fish, but he couldn't pierce the eye. But Lord Krishna pierced the eye of the fish and he took the hand of the queen. Let's see, there was Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambavati, Bhadra, Mitrabinda, Kalindi, yes, Kalindi, and then Lakshmana, yes. Nagnajiti, yes, Nagnajiti, that was the bulls. Krishna had to tie up the bulls to get Nagnajiti. Okay, I can't remember which one was the one which he had to pierce the eye of the fish. Maybe it was Lakshmana.
Lakshmana, yes.
Yeah, I think it was Lakshmana. Yeah, it was the last one. Yeah. Okay.
But Maharaj, it is said in Mahabharata that Arjun pierced the eyes of the fish. Krishna reached there and assisted Arjun to pierce the eyes of the fish. What is the story behind that? Maharaj, can you hear me, Maharaj?
Yeah, I can hear you, but anyway, Arjuna, he took the hand of Draupadi, he had to pierce the fish. He had to pierce the fish. I don't know if he didn't have to pierce the eye of the fish, and Arjuna was looking directly, he wasn't looking in the water. When Krishna had to compete to get Lakshmana, they had the rule that you could not look up at the fish, and you had to look in the pool of water and see the reflection of the fish on the water and fire the arrow up. So it was different. Anyway, Arjuna was trained to see the eye of the bird when he was being trained by Drona. Drona would ask Arjuna, he would ask the different students, what do you see? And someone would say, oh, I see the bird. And Drona would say, oh, okay, you see the bird. And somebody else would say, oh, I just see the tree, I see the bird. But Arjuna would say, I see the eye of the bird. And then Drona would say, yes, this is what you want. And so Drona gave all of his teachings in archery to Arjuna. He blessed Arjuna that he would be the greatest archer. So Arjuna had that kind of concentration. He would see the eye of the bird. He wouldn't just see the bird, but he would see the eye of the bird. Is that what you mean? The eye of the bird? Huh? Hare Krishna, do you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, is it clear?
You are clearly audible.
Huh?
You are audible, Maharaj, clearly audible.
Okay. Is that right? Is that the story you wanted to know about?
Yes, Maharaj. So we had, we knew that Arjun conquered in the Swayamvar in that way by piercing the eyes of the fish, and he just got Draupadi as his wife, but he was allowed to only see the reflection of that fish, and he fired. Might be, but Krishna did not fire at all in the Swayamvar.
In the Draupadi Swayamvar, Krishna was not there. Yeah, Krishna was not present at Draupadi Swayamvar. Remember, Pandavas had been living in exile. And so it was at that time. Arjuna went for the contest. He was disguised. Nobody knew who he was. All right, so we're hearing about Urvasi. She had come down from the higher planets, and she agrees to be a consort for Pururava. Now Pururava is a man of the earthly planet, he's a human. And Urvasi is coming from the planets of the demigods. But she's coming down to accept him. So in the Vedic culture, of course, there should be some class there. Prabhupada writes, a woman who finds a man with superior qualities may accept such a man as her husband. Similarly, if a man finds a woman who is from an inferior family but who has good qualities, he can accept such a brilliant wife as advised by Chanakya Pandit. Combination of male and female is worthwhile if the qualities of both are on an equal level. So, right? If the qualities are not equal, then it's more difficult in the marriage. And that, some people say this is one reason why so many divorces take place. Sometimes you get women very educated. You know, women nowadays, they like to go to colleges and they will do good degrees and they'll go on and do postgraduate studies and even get PhDs. And then when they want to get a husband, it's very difficult because they're so educated and they can't find a man who can match their education. Of course, it's material education. And so, a lot of women, they have a problem like this, you know, this woman, oh, she's got a PhD, oh, she went to America, she studied postgraduate studies there, and then she's looking for a husband, and a lot of men will be put off. They'll think, oh, she's so high, she's so educated, you can't compete with her. So it happens in America, you get a lot of women who are well educated, they have to marry somebody who's not educated at all, just to get a husband. They marry some man who's just a taxi driver or something. But when the man and woman are matched, then it's good. And it's true in Krishna consciousness also. If the man and woman are equally devoted, then the combination can be very nice. But if one is a devotee and one's not, then it's very difficult. You get a lot of women who are married and the man is not interested at all. The man wants to eat meat. The woman has to cook meat for her husband. It's very difficult. The woman wants to go to the temple. The man doesn't want to go to the temple. The man wants to go to movies. He wants to go to club and go to bar. The woman wants to go to temple. Very difficult. How they can get along. And of course some people come to Krishna consciousness after marriage. After marriage, one of them wants to become Krishna conscious. Then of course it's difficult, very difficult. All right? Any comments on this? What do you feel? How can we make arrangements for this for our devotees in Krishna consciousness? How can we help the devotees? You know, sometimes people say, oh, in ISKCON we have so much high divorce rate. What can we do? What are you doing to help your devotees there, Govinda Prabhu?
Maharaj, yes, in concurrence with your the knowledge you shared with us, that there must be synchronization, there must be synchronous combination, harmonious construction between wife and husband. And I am working here in the state of Odisha as a family judge. There are many divorce cases filed in my court, and I am adjudicating over all those cases. And the reason is that there are disparities and there are diversities between their mindset, their cultural background, their educational pattern. So that's why courts are flooded with many divorce suits and cases. So illicit indulgence is also one of the reasons. Illicit indulgence of the husband, either the husband or wife, they're indulging in illicit relationship with others. That's a cause. Their educational pattern, wife is qualified higher, husband is not so much qualified, and their mindset are also mismatching. So these are the reasons for which many divorce cases are there. So after becoming Krishna conscious, I converted 2 to 3 families to accept Krishna consciousness. They chanted and they released a different test. There's a phase difference in their previous pattern of life, and thereafter they realized, yes, by chanting the holy name and by accepting Krishna consciousness, yes, life is transforming into a different dimension, means in a positive direction. So that is also happening. And so those are my experiences, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. What about devotees? Are they any better? Govinda Prabhu? Are the devotees any better off than the non-devotees?
In the devotees, Maharaj, it is definitely better option. Devotees, because their life is revolving around Krishna. They focus upon Krishna only one central point, because the diversities will never arise.
Do you arrange marriages there for your devotees?
Yes, Maharaj?
Do you arrange any marriages for the devotees?
No, I have not arranged any marriage, but their marriage had been broken. I restored their broken marriages through the process of conciliation, counseling, that yes, if you will accept Krishna consciousness, then all these dissensions or diversities may stop, then you can live a successful life. So some of them practiced Krishna by chanting the holy name, etc., and they transformed a lot.
Oh, good. Oh, very good. That's good news. Yeah, certainly Prabhupada did not like divorce. He did not like divorce, but sometimes it's very difficult to avoid.
So Maharaj, before getting married, girl and boys, they should check their compatibility very nicely with qualified astrologer. They should discuss. Then they can proceed for marriage. Because I also got married with, my marriage is affair marriage, Maharaj.
Huh?
Indian, my wife is Russian.
Oh, really?
So, before getting married, my wife's spiritual master said that before getting married, you should check the compatibility first. If compatibility is matching, then you have my blessing. So, several astrologers check our compatibility. Then when that compatibility came through the B.V.V. Shastra, then he gave us permission to get married. Even I also consulted with my spiritual master. He also gave permission, you should consult with your authority under whom you practice in devotional activities.
Okay.
So it's parents' duty that before unite girls and boy, they should check their compatibility. If their compatibility is matching, then they can proceed for marriage ceremony. Otherwise, it should be separated. You cannot give a bright future, Maharaj. Because I am also astrologer, Maharaj. Every week, 2-3 divorce cases come to me. So because their matching is not proper, that's why this divorce takes place. Although they are devotee in a devotee community, husband and wife, they are all professor in university, but they are staying like separated. Due to what? Due to their matching is not properly compatibility is not matched.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
It is not that Krishna is the center. No, Krishna's center is okay, but compatibility should be matched.
So how long have you been married now?
10 years, Maharaj. I have 9-year-old daughter.
Oh, okay. And your wife?
She's also Brahmin. I'm also Brahmin. We are also in deity at home, and she's helping me in teaching profession.
Where? In teaching profession?
Yes, Maharaj.
Oh, you?
And she is a software engineer. She was a software engineer in Russia. She did job in government, the Russian television center. Now she is in India. She's helping me because we are doing Shastri course from Vrindavan.
Oh, she's living in India now.
Yes, Maharaj. Last 10 years she's with me.
Okay, good. Okay,
it should be considered, Maharaj. Before getting married, their compatibility should be properly checked.
Yes.
And they become happy.
Yes, we have also, we do try, we have things like, they have the thing called Grihastha Vision Team, which is operating in the Western world. Grihastha Vision Team, and they try to guide people. They help to prepare people for marriage. That's also very important, to prepare people. Actually, Jayapataka Swami wrote out about 100 questions which he wanted people to answer, to sit down together, the man and the woman before marriage, sit down and go through these questions and make sure they know each other a bit before they go ahead into married life. He wanted that, they have a realistic idea what their goal is, and what their vision, where they're expecting to be in a few years. Sometimes people get married and you don't know what they want. And sometimes a man, he wants something completely different from the wife. So it has to be done very carefully. All right, so we'll go ahead here. Urvasi has got some conditions in coming to marry with Pururava. And she tells Pururava that I want you to protect these 2 lambs, that they have fallen down with me. The 2 lambs, she brought them from the heavenly planets. But she said, I'm willing to stay with you as your wife. I'll take you as your husband. I'll accept you as my husband, but you must protect my 2 lambs. And so that was one thing she wants. And then there was something else. She says, only preparations made in ghee will be my eatables, and I shall not want to see you naked at any time except at the time of sex. So this was Urvasi's conditions in getting married. So Prabhupada explains about how in the heavenly planets life is different. Coming from the heavenly planet, just like you come from Russia and live in India, it's a lot of changes, cultural changes. Different side of the world, different countries, different nationalities. There's a lot of differences. It's a big change for people. Not everyone can adjust. And so similarly, Urvasi's come from the heavenly planets, and she's come down to earth. So she had some conditions. She brought her lambs with her. So she brought her lambs with her, and she asked her husband, you have to take care of these lambs for me. And then she said also, I only want to eat food cooked in ghee. No oil, right? No oil, only food cooked in ghee. And I don't want to see you naked. So Prabhupada said this is very interesting. He said, nowadays people are so fond of being naked. Practically, they've got even places, of nudist colonies and these things where people are all naked, and people even dress up, walk on the streets half naked in the summertime. So many times you'll see people half naked. Anyway, Pururava accepts these things. So Prabhupada comments about Urvasi that her standards of living and eating and behavior and speech are all different on the heavenly planets from the standards on earth. How we live, just like how we live in one country can be very different how you live in another country. If you go to like the Middle East, live in the Middle East, often people live in apartments. Or you live in Bombay, you live in an apartment often. You don't get, difficult sometimes to get landed property. So on the heavenly planets, people don't eat things like meat and eggs. They eat things cooked in ghee. And they don't like to see people, each other naked either. So people on the higher planets, on demigod planets, they're very well behaved. They have beautiful bodily features, they're very attractive, and they eat first-class food in the mode of goodness. So this is the nature of life on the heavenly planets. But you cannot stay there. You can go to heaven for some time. There's also problems there in the heavenly planets. We heard Tara, that she's married, a married woman, and she's taken away by some other man. So these kind of things are going on in the heavenly planets. And there's fighting, the demigods and the demons are fighting. Sometimes the demons will come and attack the demigods. So there's always some disturbance there in material life. Okay? We should have a break. Let's have a break for 5-10 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, welcome back. All right, we want to go on. We're going through this section, chapter 14. We're hearing about Pururava and how he's got himself involved. He's got himself a wife from the heavenly planets, Urvasi. Of course, we may think, wow, he's really lucky. He's got a woman from the heavenly planets and she's so beautiful. But there's problems, right? She didn't come on her own. She brought her lambs with her. People often have a dog, you get people, they say, love me, love my dog. Oh, Krishna. We have to take care of the dog as well. So anyway, she's got lambs. She lives with some lambs. And they have to be taken care of.
Which I think Paramakuruna Prabhu has a question.
Yes?
Only if it's okay, just before we go ahead, I had some questions, couple of questions based on previous few verses.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Maharaj. First thing is, why did Brihaspati desire so strongly that the child be delivered immediately? Like, why could he not, for example, wait a few months?
Well, it seems like he didn't have to. Why should he wait a few months? He wants to see the child. He wants to see whose child it is. They'll know immediately when the child's born whose child it is. They could tell the difference. That would be one reason. All the time, just carrying child in the womb, waiting for it to give birth, and because there's this doubt about whose child it is. And so he wants to get it, or they want to take care of that, straighten that out. So that was one reason, yeah?
Raja, also, just based on that exchange and that particular verse, a couple of verses, it's interesting. Why does Brihaspati want back Tara so much? It seems like Tara was, Soma obviously was attracted to her. Tara somehow, also kind of engaged with Soma. And she didn't kind of report like, oh, he raped me or he forced himself on me or anything like that. So why is it that Brihaspati still wants her back? Now, he could have married someone else. He's like the chief of the priests, right? He's a Brahmana. He could have begged another woman from anywhere, really. He could have been begged from the demigods, number one. And number two, he could have taken up the spiritual life. Like, okay, look, my wife is left, he's been stolen, and this is too much of a hard work. Let me just focus on my spiritual life, or let me just focus on my responsibility of being the priest of the demigods.
Well, first of all, he had his wife. Obviously, they were married. They'd been, and he developed some attachment for her. You're thinking, this is my wife. You have an attachment for that particular woman. And you don't want her to go off with some other man. And it appears also that, he'd been trying to get her back for some time. But Soma was holding on to her. He wanted to keep her. Finally, they brought her back because she was a wife of Brihaspati. So the woman should be with her husband. They'd been married, and so he wanted to have his wife back. I think it's perfectly legitimate, perfectly natural.
then there's this whole thing about trust. Like, relationship is based on trust. So then if she's with someone, she's possibly carrying the child of someone else, how can how can I, for example, how can Brihaspati have a, continue with the relationship? If anything can happen also in the future, she may run off again or be taken. And even if she's taken, she will accept just as she's accepted Soma.
Well, these things don't happen every day. It's not such a common thing that a woman will go off with another, especially a married woman. It's certainly an unusual event for a married woman to go off with some other man. And it was Soma who took her, of course she went with him. But anyway, it's not the kind of thing which happens all the time. Most women, it's just not the kind of thing which happens. I think it... And as far as Brihaspati taking up spiritual life, he's a grihastha, he was in family life, and then you want him to just, you can't just renounce like that. It takes some time, there has to be some adjustment, and he was the priest of the demigods, he's working with all these householders, and you want him to be, to take up spiritual life, living in the heavenly planets, very difficult to take up spiritual life there. There's so much opulence, there's so much sense gratification there, that it's very difficult for people to be serious about devotional service in that condition. So, you can't really...
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, we can't really criticize Brihaspati and said, oh, he should become a sannyasi. No, you can't do that. You can't put people, make them a sannyasi just overnight. Oh, his wife went off with somebody else, he better take sannyas. No.
Right, there was one more question. Mitra and Varuna cursed Urvashi. Now, Urvashi, we don't hear she did anything wrong. She's just a damsel of heaven. But they became attracted to her and they became overwhelmed by her. This is what the description we get to know. And because they became attracted to her, they cursed her. So
they became attracted to him, what?
Attracted to Urvashi.
Yes.
So then, therefore, they cursed her. This is text 15 to 18.
Okay.
So it's almost like I became attracted to you, and it's your fault. Or I'm cursing you. So therefore, Urvashi then obviously gets cursed and becomes attracted to Purava and comes to the earthly realm. So how do we understand that? And how do they get away with it? How does Mitra and Varuna get away with it?
How can we understand all the dealings of the demigods, the minds of the demigods, that these things are going on? And we have these problems.
I was thinking, Maharaj, it happens in the world as well, that a guy becomes attracted to a girl and she refuses to be with them, and then they throw acid in her face. It happens a lot in India. It's like, you rejected me, and so I'm not going to let you live with anybody else. And so, the girl is not at fault, and she gets a response like that. So I guess we can see that here on Earth as well as the heavenly planets.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, can be like that. A trying situation for the woman. So Urvasi, she's a very attractive woman, one of Indra's main girls there in the heavenly planets, and she's She has her own ideas about what she wants to do. So she may not be able to comply with these other people. Okay, so thank you for these questions. So we hear anyway, Pururava and Urvasi, they're very happy together and they're moving around. They're going to different places where the demigods go to enjoy. You know, just like on this planet, people like to go to, sometimes they go to beach resorts and sometimes they go to mountain areas, go up the mountains and enjoy in the somewhere up in the mountains, especially in the summertime, to get away from the heat. They go up into the mountains and enjoy the cooler atmosphere. And so similarly, Pururava and Urvasi are traveling around and enjoying each other's company. And they enjoy together for many days. But then after some time, Indra is wondering what happened to Urvasi. Without Urvasi, my assembly is no longer beautiful. So he requested the Gandharvas to bring her back to heaven, bring her back to Indra's place, to the heavenly planets. So the Gandharvas have got a plan. And they come there in the dead of night, when everyone's asleep. Urvasi and Pururava are both asleep on bed, and they come in the dead of night, and they steal away the lambs. They steal away the 2 lambs, which are supposed to be taken care of by Pururava. Urvasi had given them to the king to take care of them. But the Gandharvas came there at midnight, and they stole away the lambs, so the lambs start bleating, what is it? They make the bleeping noise which the lambs make, bleating. And then, and they wake up, Urvasi hears the lambs, and they're like her 2 sons. She doesn't have children, but she has 2 lambs, and they're like her 2 sons. And when they start crying, Urvasi hears them crying, and she wakes up and she starts yelling at her husband, "What kind of man are you? They're taking my lambs." And he gets up, he jumps up, and he goes with his sword, and he goes out, what's going on? And he gets the lambs. So he brings the lambs back, but just at that moment, they lit the place up. The Gandharvas arranged to light the place up. Right? Pururava's jumping up out of bed, takes his sword and goes after the lambs. And he comes back with the lambs, and the Gandharvas shine a light. And Pururava is not properly dressed, he's naked. And so Urvasi immediately disappears. Although he was coming with the lambs in his hand, because he was naked, she immediately left that place. And so Pururava was completely devastated. Urvasi left him, and he was left all alone. Well, I guess the lambs also went. I don't know what happened to the lambs. I guess they also went with Urvasi. Anyway, he's completely attached to her, and he cannot why she's left me, why is she gone? And he's traveling about the earth like a madman, looking for her. He cannot find Urvasi anywhere. And he's so attached to her. And he's traveling all over the world looking for her. So then one day, somehow it happens, one time, on the bank of the Saraswati at Kurukshetra, he sees Urvasi with 5 companions. So he's so happy when he sees her, he's overjoyed, and he pleads with her, "Oh, please stay with me. I have never made you happy until now, but you should don't give me up. This is not proper. Let us talk for some time." He really wants to get Urvasi back. And he calls her, "Oh goddess, now that you have refused me, my beautiful body will fall down here. It will be eaten by foxes and vultures." So Urvasi has some interesting words to say to Pururava. She's got something very, very heavy to say to Pururava. And she says to him, "My dear king, you are a man, a hero. Don't be impatient and give up your life. Be sober and don't allow the senses to overcome you like foxes. Don't let the foxes eat you. In other words, you should not be controlled by your senses. Rather, you should know that the heart of a woman is like that of a fox. There is no use making friendship with women." So, this is this is Urvasi speaking to Pururava. She's really teaching him something, a very heavy lesson, which he had not learned. Of course, she's a woman from the heavenly planets. So, how can we properly understand these words which she's saying? She said, "The heart of a woman is like that of a fox. There's no use making friendship with women." How should we take this kind of talk? How should we not take it? And how should we take it? Narasimha Nitai Prabhu, kindly tell us, what is your opinion on this?
Regarding what, Maharaj?
Huh?
Regarding what?
You're not following the class, huh?
I'm listening class, Maharaj, regarding Urvashi and Pururava. So,
Okay, so Urvasi said, you should know that the heart of a woman is like that of a fox. There's no use making friendship with women. So,
those were unchaste women for them, Maharaj, not for chaste women.
Huh?
Not for chaste women. Those were unchaste women, for them this word is applicable.
Well, who is a chaste and who is not chaste woman? You know, that's
Chaste women, those who are always under control, under husband, father, and elderly son. And they are chaste women. And those who are unchaste women, those who are not following husband word, are always argument with husband and keep relationship with other men like paramour. They're unchaste women.
Well, she says, she doesn't say about anything about chaste. She just said the heart of a woman is like that of a fox.
Yes, Maharaj. But Maharaj, here is regarding chaste and unchaste, because woman's heart is like a fox. But if they are under control, then they will not become like a fox. They will be chest ornament, and they will be in like flower. Flower is looking beautiful in garden. If we pick up the flower, keep in room in one tub, it slowly becomes thin, not looking beautiful. Chest ornament always should be in home, taking care of children and taking care of husband. If they goes outside, their beauty decreases. They become shameless. They never respect their husband, even they will not respect elders. We are seeing in our community also.
So
they never respect any prabhus. They never respect any elders. They think that we are equal. You are man, I am woman, okay, but we're doing service in this platform, we are equal. No. They have to maintain the class. They are not maintaining any class, Maharaj. I'm sorry to say, Maharaj.
They're not maintaining any class.
No. They're thinking we're equal. Vishwasanaiva kartabam istri shuraja kulesi. Like Mother Kunti, they're chest women. Draupadi, they're chest women. They always under guidance like Vishwadev and Pitamaha and Dhritarashtra. She was always under protection. Although she is Kshatriya woman, she had quality to fight, but she was under protection, under superior guidance.
What do you think, Sumati? Do you agree with this?
To some extent, I agree, Maharaj, because yes, if we will read our Shastras and if we will listen to our previous acharyas also, there must be a certain barricade between men and women and like their dealings, which actually helps us to maintain our chastity and our like purity. To some extent, I agree, Maharaj.
Okay.
Maharaj, when saintly person, they used to perform their austerity, they used to go to forest. And Indra become agitated. He sent Urvashi to disturb their sadhana. But in this age of Kali, now Apsara not coming from heavenly planet, Apsara coming from America, England and Russia and different countries to agitated good devotee's mind. And they get married, then husband goes to America for earning money, and wife in Kolkata goes to nightclub for dancing. This is happening.
Modern day Afsara is this. Every moment she's tinkling
yes, and... This mobile is our great enemy. This is for men, second wife, for woman, second husband. Yes, this is true. That's why we have to follow Shastric injunction. We have to apply in our personal life and everyone will become better.
Okay, somebody else has got their hand up here.
Yes, I wanted to say also like Narasimha Prabhu said that in Lord Brahma creation we have two kind of women, the chaste class and the unchaste class. So that's one point. And another point that I want to make is that one thing Srila Prabhupada said to one female devotee, he's saying all the things, and also that the women are not so intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada said, I think that it was Yamuna, correct me if I'm wrong. So Srila Prabhupada said, what do you think about this? And she said, so if you Srila Prabhupada says so, it is be true. So Srila Prabhupada said, but that's the point. If you think that you're a woman, you're in a bodily platform of life. But if you think that you're a spiritual soul, all this material bondage and all this material psychology don't affect the devotee, because he, like Narasimha Prabhu said, because he's not following his own desires or his own mind. He's following the Shastra. A chaste woman, he's following the husband and following the spiritual master. So perhaps she could have these qualities. But because she took refuge or took shelter on the guru and the father and the husband, these qualities will not manifest practically. So that's what I want to say.
If they have a good husband.
Maharaj, before I getting married, my wife asked her Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Madhava Swami, Guru Maharaj, what should be my duty after getting married? Then Maharaj replied, your duty is to become maid servant of your husband. That is your qualification.
Very good.
Still now, my wife, without me, she never goes outside. Wherever I go, she's with me. Even she do not go to the shop, like purchasing sabji. She said, please, you go and bring it. And she want to go to purchase some dress for my daughter. She take me to purchase it. I help her, but she never goes alone outside. Even phone call, if she some unknown call, she never receive the phone.
Oh, very good.
This is one example I have given, what I have seen to my wife.
So when it's, Urvasi said, there is no use making friendship with women. So this means women who are unchaste, right?
Friendship with only husband, not for other men. If they make friendship with other men, that men want to use that woman due to for gratifying his senses. Now young girls are coming to temple, they are making some brahmachari's video. Oh, Prabhuji is engaged in serving the devotees of the Lord. What purpose? Because she want to make relationship with that brahmachari. That's it, nothing else. She's unchaste girl. There should be always protection under superior guidance. I have seen the video today. One girl sent video and making video to one brahmachari. He's serving Prasadam, Nityananda Trayadashi. Was engaged in serving the devotees of the Lord. And from the glass, what purpose? This is not good activities.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, Maharaj.
All right,
Yes,
anybody
yes.
else want to add anything on this? Prabhupada quotes Chanakya Pandit, never place your faith in a woman or a politician.
Maharaj,
Yes?
generally women, you could say just like some cute animal like a fox. You know, foxes are quite small, they're quite cute, you know, with their kind of, brown, orange kind of hair, sometimes black, whatever like that. So women are just generally known for their kind of pleasant nature, their beauty, their sweet words, and so on and so forth. So what I understand is from what devotees have explained when we were going through these verses is that all this beauty, pleasantry, sweetness may be there, but when women cannot get their own way, then that other side also is there, like that. So there is that side of the fox where they have very strong mouth, strong teeth, and they can be merciless when it comes to other animals, attacking and killing and eating other animals. So that's what I understand when this verse says woman's nature is like a fox. Yeah. So one shouldn't be bewildered by the cuteness, the sweetness, the pleasantries and so on and so forth. Just as men have their hidden nature, well, men are not so good at hiding. Maybe Krishna hasn't given that. Usually they're just kind of very blunt and straightforward and bold and without shame. But women have that somehow. But there's the same nature is there as a man, and it could come out, like here where she's coming out, or she's explaining. There is that same nature as a man in a woman as well.
Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, some good points. Yeah.
And then Maharaj, this, I don't know what you think about this. One devotee was saying that this statement by Chanakya Pandit about one should not trust a woman or politician, I just wanted to hear your thoughts. He said that these women that Chanakya Pandit is referring to are women who are employed in politics. Meaning that sometimes the kings and the ministers would hire women to somehow overpower the opposing party, the enemies, to seduce them and so on and so forth. So this statement, therefore, because Chanakya Pandit was more or less like a minister, an advisor. So therefore this statement is there. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, generally we say, you know, a woman or a politician, mean not devotee women. People who are not devotees. The politicians and women in general, not devotee. We don't put our faith in non-devotees. So this statement applies to people who are not devotees. And Chanakya Pandit himself wasn't really a devotee, Prabhupada said. He was more of a politician, he was more of a minister, an advisor to the government. So yeah, but putting faith in people, they should be trustworthy. And the standard of trust, we put trust in someone who is a devotee, who is faithful to the principles of spiritual practice.
Maharaj, Mother Kunti and Draupadi, they were very high educated in spiritual. Actually, Papa says that woman's heart is like a children. Very quickly they become cheated by the man. That's why they should be always under protection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, women should be protected, right? So Prabhupada talks about the position of women. He quotes Bhagavad Gita, Striya Vaishyas Tata Sudras. Yeah, Kali Yuga, we're all fallen. We're all Sudra and lower. So when it's the Striya Vaishyas Tata Sudra, we're all Sudra and so Te Paranti Parangatim, they can all achieve the supreme destination. On the spiritual platform, they can all be elevated to Krishna consciousness. Doesn't matter what their position. Anyway, Prabhupada said, Urvasi was a woman, she knows the nature of women. And said a woman's heart is like a sly fox. If a man cannot control his senses, he becomes a victim of the sly fox. So again, this problem, the men have a duty to control their senses. Otherwise, they will definitely have a problem. Some people will take advantage of them. And Prabhupada quotes Chanakya again. He said, if you have a wife who's like a sly fox, then better you go to the forest. It'd be better than living at home. So he said, Krishna conscious grihastas must be very careful of the sly fox woman. Woman at home is obedient and follows her husband, the home is welcome. Right? As you were saying, some of you, like Narasimha, your wife is very obedient, like that. And so very good. Otherwise, you should give up the home and go to the forest. And then here you can see Prahlad Maharaj told his father like that. Prahlad Maharaj told his father that better you go and live in the forest. Vanam gato yad dharam ashrayeta. Advabma papam griham andakupam. Right? If your home is like a blind well, better you go and live in the forest. And there in the forest, take shelter of the Lord. And then Urvasi has more to say. Urvasi, you can see this text 37, women as a class are merciless and cunning. They cannot tolerate even a slight offense. For their own pleasure they can do anything irreligious, and therefore they do not fear killing even a faithful husband or brother. So this is Urvasi speaking, and she's telling she's telling Pururava, you're so attached to me, but look, you should know what is the nature of women. So certainly Urvasi, I mean, you could hardly call her chaste. She's one of Indra's girls there up there in the heavenly planets, and somehow she'd come down to earth, and she's been enjoying. Of course, she could say she accepted Pururava as a husband, and she was enjoying the relationship with him, but still, just a slight event, and she left him. And she says there, they cannot tolerate even a slight offense. Right? It was a trick by the Gandharvas. The king was tricked into appearing naked before Urvasi. So she immediately left him. So her husband made only a slight offense, but she left him. And she said, sometimes the woman will even kill. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes the man may kill the woman, sometimes the woman may kill the man. So Prabhupada said, material world, unless women are trained to be chaste and faithful to their husbands, there cannot be peace and prosperity in society. So sometimes some people are very lucky. The women are very chaste and faithful, so they can live peacefully. Not everyone. Okay, 38 goes on, more about women. Women are easily seduced by men. Therefore, polluted women give up the friendship of a man who is their well-wisher and establish false friendship among fools. Indeed, they seek newer and newer friends, one after another. So this is Urvasi. She's talking about her own self. Her own nature is like that. She gave up the friendship of Pururava, who was her well-wisher, and she's got new friends. So that's why women should be protected. They should not be given freedom. They're meant to be taken care of. But they say men and women are equal. In Prabhupada's time, you had the women's liberation movement, and they were coming and talking to Prabhupada and telling Prabhupada women are equal to men. And Prabhupada was talking about the woman's brain being different, very small compared to the man's brain. Of course, people, they didn't know this. But Prabhupada spent a lot of time preaching about this, trying to get women to understand they're meant to be taken care of. But women want to be equal. They want to go to work. Prabhupada said, the men cheated the women. They told the women, you're equal, you also go to work. So the poor woman has to go to work at the same time. It's the woman who has the baby. When they want a baby, it's the woman who gets pregnant, and at the same time she's supposed to go to work. And so it's not fair. It was exploitation of the women by the men. Send the women out to work. You're equal. You go to work. The man doesn't have to worry about getting pregnant. It's the woman who gets pregnant. Anyway, Urvasi, she gives some concession to Pururava. She said, you can enjoy with me as my husband at the end of each year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children, one after another. So Urvasi is giving a concession that you can be with me one night in the year. So one night in the year she can get pregnant, she can have a baby, she'll come back a year later, they can have another child. So it often happens, a lot of marriages break up. It's the woman. The woman leaves the man. She doesn't want to be with the man. She'll go off. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And then they had one son, and then a year later they have another association and she has another son. And then this way Pururava gets a few sons from Urvasi. At the end of each year, Pururava is very happy, enjoys her company for one night. And then when she goes, then he's very sorry to be separated from her. So Urvasi gives him some instruction. She tells him, you should take the shelter of the Gandharvas and they will save you. So they bring this other girl and he gets involved, but then he realizes she's not really Urvasi and she's different from Urvasi, and so he gives her up and he goes looking for Urvasi again. And we hear how it happened, that it came Treta Yuga. The Treta millennium began. In the course of his meditation, the Treta millennium. And then at that time, they did some yajna to fulfill desires. There's Pururava, he's meditating all night upon Urvasi. And in the course of his meditation, Treta millennium began. So Treta millennium, the process of yajna is there. Right? In the Treta Yuga you can do yajna. So, he does the yajna. Of course, I said Pururava was a materialistic man, especially interested in enjoying the senses. And yajna, for enjoyment of the senses, are called karma kanda yajnas. So he wanted to do karma kanda yajna. He didn't want to do a yajna to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada said, real yajna, Kali Yuga, is Sankirtan yajna. Yagnai Sankirtan Praya Yajantihi Sumedasa. Intelligent people in the Kali Yuga, they will do the Sankirtan yajna. Perform Sankirtan, not some karma kandi practice for sense gratification. People who are lusty, they do these karma kandi yajnas. So Pururava did karma kandi yajna. So King Pururava went to the same place where he left that false girl, and there he saw from two trees a piece of wood had blown, and he got a piece of wood and he used it to do the yajna. And he's meditating on Urvasi. He wants to go to the planet where Urvasi lived. So he chanted mantras and he meditated on Urvasi, and this way he made a fire. he rubbed two pieces of wood together, made a fire. And so he did the yajna. By such a fire, you can succeed. All your desires can be fulfilled. And it describes, according to the Vedas, there are 3 different kinds of sons. One son you can get naturally through marriage. You conceive a child in the womb of your wife by semen. Another way you get a son is you have a disciple, a bona fide disciple through initiation. And the third way you get a son or a disciple through yajna, through the fire of sacrifice. So in this way, Pururava, he generated the fire by yajna. And the fire became his son. So by rubbing the wood, a son was born. The fire became his son. So then by that fire, Pururava, he wants to go to the planet where Urvasi stays. And he does a sacrifice to satisfy the Supreme Lord. And then in the final verse, text 49, you can see, at the beginning of Treta Yuga, King Pururava did a karma kanda sacrifice. The yajnic fire was his son, and by this he was able to go to Gandharva Loka. Urvasi came from Gandharva Loka, so Pururava wanted to go there. He considered the yajnic fire his son. So in this way, Pururava goes after this woman, so he can understand how much materially this man Pururava is attached, that he's going crazy, he's running all over the universe, and he's even going to the higher planets. Although he's from Earth, he goes to the higher planets to try to get association, to be with Urvasi again. Okay, so I didn't go through each and every verse. We took the highlights, the main parts of the verse. Any questions on this? We should know what Srila Prabhupada said about yajna, right? What does he say? Real yajna is Sankirtan. In the Kali Yuga, there's only one yajna which is really effective, and that is Sankirtan. We want to keep the Sankirtan pure. We don't want to make it a materialistic affair. We want to keep it pure. The mood of devotion has to be there, that we perform the kirtan for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Pururava did Karmakanda Yagya, so he could go up to Gandharva Loka, just so he could chase after his woman, Urvasi. But she's already told him very clearly what is the nature of women. And certainly she's describing her own self. So you can see something of the selfish nature of such a woman. That they're more concerned with their own self, they don't care about others. Urvasi's not thinking about Pururava much. And you can see also the danger. You get involved with a woman from heaven, she has to go back to heaven. Indra wants to bring her back. It's a problem. You can't keep her with you forever, for long. For some time, you can't. For some time he could enjoy, but he's chasing after her, and he's even going to Gandharva Loka to try to be with her more. So this is the nature of lust. It burns like fire and never satisfied. Okay, are there any questions on this?
Maharaj?
Yes?
Couple of things. First one is in text 39, Urishi is now promising that yes, I'll be able to be with you for one night. And then she goes on that in this way you'll be able to have other children. Does that mean she already had some children with Pururava?
Yeah, well, it's said like that, right? The next verse said, he again returned, he again obtained the association of Urvasi, who was then the mother of a heroic son. It said there, text 40, understanding Urvasi was pregnant, Pururava returned to his palace. And at the end of the year, he again obtained, and he saw there was a son.
So when they met, it seems like that she was already pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, Maharaj, just going a little bit further back, text 37, 38, nature of woman, and then Urvashi says that they do not fear killing even faithful husband or brother, right? So, but isn't it ultimately men who do the most killing? So why particularly, like devotees may argue, or people may argue that why particularly women are mentioned in terms of not fearing killing anyone? Men seem to be doing the most.
Urvasi is speaking, and she wants to bring it out to Pururava, who's, madly in love with her. She wants to try to bring him to his senses, try to understand what's going on, what you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say she wants to speak these kind of things to him.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly she behaved like that. A little offense, and she immediately left him.
So, Maharaj, in these verses, are we are we taking it that women are like this, or are we taking it that this nature is also there in a woman? It's not just in a man. How are we actually taking this?
Well, we should understand that a woman can be like that. Not that they're always like that, but they can display that nature. Right? But at least Urvasi is saying like this, and she's a woman. She's talking about it. And we have to understand that this kind of behavior is possible. Not that every case, but it's possible.
Maharaj, Urvashi was not a chaste woman. She's unchaste woman because she, before coming to earthly planet, she associated with Mitra and Varuna.
Yes. Well, I said that. I said she's not a chaste woman, and she's describing, something of the behavior. She left Pururava, and the next time he sees her, she's with 5 other people. She gets her, and she's from Indra's court. So she's been one of his girls up there in Swargaloka, and so she's been around.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I wanted to ask, would we apply this chaste and unchaste to heavenly women, because the rules there are different? Obviously on earth we've got certain rules and regulations that we have to follow, but in the heavenly planets, the rules are different. They don't have to be married, they can have multiple partners.
Oh, really? Is that true? I've never heard that before. That people, we heard Brihaspati had his wife. It seemed like they were married,
But the Apsaras in generally were considered like heavenly damsels that would have multiple
Well, of course,
relationships.
for the heavenly damsels and the society girls and the ladies who are something like prostitutes there in the palace, they're just simply there. They're just simply there for the pleasure of some man,
Yeah, so would that category of chaste, unchaste still apply to them? Because their category of living is different. It's like the things that they do there are different. It's like they partake in somaras and, other alcohol beverages, whereas here on earth we're not allowed those because we're kind of like, we're on earth, so we're in jail, so we've had some liberties taken away from us.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. That's true. We have some restrictions, what is considered civilized behavior here. But everything, of course, depends on your profession. And you could say, somebody like Urvasi, her profession required, that she got involved with so many different men. And we cannot really criticize her for that. It's like her profession is like that, requires that. So you could say,
Also,
yeah, society women there in the heavenly planets, yeah, you can't expect them to be chaste.
Maharaj, I wanted to say that all this topic, for example, Srila Prabhupada also said that politicians should not be trusted. For example, she said also that scientists are rascals. Philosophers are also rascal and just speculate. And it's not that Srila Prabhupada only say things about women. But the main point, like Your Holiness said, is not like all the scientists are rascals. All the philosophers are speculators. All the women are no intelligent. The main point is Srila Prabhupada when says things like that is they talking about no devotees, common people, because it could be also a scientist says Srila Prabhupada is discriminating the scientists, or a politician will say Chanya Pandit discriminate the politicians. We're not all like this. We have Yudhishthir Maharaj, or we have like Narasimha Prabhu said, Kunti Devi, Draupadi, a chess woman, and philosophers. We have a lot of big philosophers in India and different parts. Socrates, Srila Prabhupada saying that he was a good man. So I think that the main point is that Srila Prabhupada is talking about no devotees, because no devotees are not trusty, because they conduct themselves by their own senses, by their own mind, and not by Shastras or Krishna's mind. That's the main point that I wanted to say.
Okay, yeah, we agree with that. Non-devotees, yeah, that this is more the proper understanding. This kind of talking, this is in relation to non-devotees. At the same time, we would be cautious about presenting it to non-devotees like that. You know, Urvasi can say it because she's a woman; she can criticize herself. But for somebody else, if we were to say it, and if some man is to say it, to criticize, then it will be, it will not be appreciated. It will not be taken very well. Women, devotee women and non-devotee women, very different, right? Of course, devotee women, it's not just any devotee woman, but generally a woman who's strictly following the devotee principles, then certainly she'll be of a different nature from women in general.
Maharaj's conclusion is that woman is woman. Why woman is woman? Because their heart is very soft.
Oh, wow.
So, from my personal experience, I have seen to my wife, when I become angry, her mood becomes changed. When I become soft, she also becomes soft.
You're very fortunate, Prabhu. You have a very special wife, you see. Not everyone's so fortunate. There are women with hard hearts. Just like, I was just reading Srimad Bhagavatam, it tells about King Chitraketu, and he had millions of wives, right? And one wife gave birth to a son, and then the other wives, they were all envious that this one woman, she had a son and they didn't have any son. So they gave some poison to the one son. So these other wives, it said they were also hard-hearted. They were hard-hearted. So women do, it's not that all women have a soft heart. Now your wife may be soft-hearted, that's very nice, you're very lucky. But we cannot say that all women are soft-hearted.
Maharaj, I was in the Brahmacharya ashram. When I changed my ashram, my management engaged me in the particular service in ISKCON Vrindavan, Welcome Center, and my boss was one woman. And I have seen to her, when she become angry, she become my great enemy. But when I become soft, I can also enjoy her heart also by speaking sweetly.
Okay.
So woman heart is very soft. If we speak with them very sweetly, very softly, they become melted.
Okay.
Not only one, two. I have checked several women, several Mataji. When we speak very sweetly, they become very sweet. When we change our mood, their mood also becomes changed.
Okay. You have some nice experiences with Matajis. Okay.
Maharaj?
Yes, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Not all Maharaj, only few. I have observed my wife and my boss. Now I have no boss, only my wife and me.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj. Just at some point we were discussing, men and women being equal and all of those things. I think it's more about equal opportunities. That's what they're pushing at the moment. That it's not that necessarily that men and women are equal, but it's more that both men and women should have equal opportunities. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that, especially amongst the devotee community. It's not so much because from the Prabhupada's books and so on, it's quite clear that, okay, men have nature, women have nature, like that particular types of nature. But there is this strong, kind of like almost, I want to say it's a push, but at least awareness that there should be equal opportunity for both men and women. So just wanted to hear your thoughts about that, Maharaj.
Yeah, about equal opportunities, yeah. Okay, there's an opportunity for men to go in the coal mine, dig coal, the women want to go in the coal mine and dig coal. There's an opportunity for men to, do things like put up big buildings and climb up skyscraper buildings and do all kinds of construction. It's not really fitting for women to do these kind of things. What is proper for women and what is not proper, that needs some clarification. We may say, well, this is not suitable work for women. Well, what is, you want equal opportunity. It has to be work which is appropriate. But the whole thing is, actually, women, they shouldn't all be going to work. Women are much better to be at home. They should be married. They should be in the family and taken care of. As you said, a woman should be taken care of by her father before marriage, and then with her husband, and then with her son. So she doesn't go out to work. She stays at home, and she's taken care of there, and she takes care of the house. So equal opportunities. This is the real Dharma, Sri Dharma. According to Vedic culture, the Dharma of a woman is there, in the home. She doesn't go off to the factory, she doesn't go work in the office all day. She can work at home. Nowadays a lot of people work at home. She could do that. It's okay.
Imagine kind of staying at home, becoming the maidservant of the husband, looking after the children. It doesn't sound so heroic. It sounds like almost like, cleaner, kind of like, servant, slave, it doesn't sound like adventurous. It doesn't sound heroic. It doesn't sound like,
Well, we said women have to be protected. We don't want women to go out and be heroes and like that. Women are supposed to be protected and taken care of. That is how it's meant to be. And Grihastha Ashram is like that. The husband's meant to protect the wife, take care of her. She's not meant to be a hero. She's not meant to go out there and have adventure and stuff. Women go out there, they get exploited, they get taken advantage of.
So isn't that a problem with the men? Why should women be restricted in any way just because men can't get it together?
Well, men are much more able usually to get things together than women. Usually the men are considered more capable. Usually the women need some help to do things.
Sorry, one last kind of point, a query. When we say women need protection, what do we really mean by that practically?
Well, we mean that the man's going to provide for the woman. He'll take care of her. He'll give her shelter. He'll provide for her maintenance. He'll protect her from degradation. He will satisfy her, give her children, like that.
Thank you much.
Okay. Are there any other questions there? All right, then we'll finish here tonight. All right, we'll meet tomorrow night. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.